Howdy folks, Joe DeSanto here, your friendly neighborhood personal finance guru at your service. Thanks for joining me in my channel here on YouTube. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about 401ks today and the difference between just, your account balance and your rate of return and how you want to distinguish those things. But before that, if you enjoy my content, I would really like the old like and subscribe. That helps me out. I would certainly appreciate it. And also, if you are into personal finance, but you want to know more, you want to get deeper, you want to learn how to do personal finance correctly from top to bottom, I have a course called Personal Finance Mastery that will teach you to do just that. It's an easy to follow course on walking you through all the aspects of personal finance and letting you know exactly what you need to concern yourself with and what you don't. So it'll save you a lot of time and energy if you're going down the personal finance mastery road. Check it out, link below in the description. Okay, so on to the 401k. So what does rate of return mean, and how do I, what's the distinguishing factor between just my account balance? So rate of return is the actual new money you're making on the money you've invested. Now, of course, when you buy stocks, the stocks go up and they go down. So at any given time, depending on what you have invested, or what's called your cost basis, and what your investments are worth today, your rate of return is always changing. However, you kind of look at it on an average over time based on both the growth of the stock value and also any dividends that these stocks or investments have put off. You calculate that against your cost basis, and that'll generate a rate of return. Now, often people talk about compound annual growth, and the compound growth being, or compounding be the eighth wonder of the world. That is essentially kind of a reverse engineered number often, where you say, hey, I started with this amount of money, I invested it, now I have this amount of money. The difference between my cost basis and the new value of my account is this much percentage, but over 3 years, and from that you kind of figure out what your compound annual growth is. And that's just a good metric to gauge how well your stocks are doing. Now, often people will look at the compound annual growth of your investments, especially if they're helping you invest, and they'll say, well, how did that do compared to the S&P? The Standard & Poor's 500 and its indexes are kind of the benchmark everyone measures against. And you may have heard this, but historically, the S&P 500, if you invested just in all the stocks of the index over the last 100 years, has produced a compound annual growth rate of about 10% with reinvested dividends. So you look at your rate of return and compound annual growth rate, you can kind of measure it against the S&P, and you say to yourself, hey, did my guy or gal do better, or my choices do better, or should I have just invested in the S&P 500, and would that have done better for me? Many people say, including Warren Buffett, that you will do better overall if you just invest in the market in general, and you would do that by maybe investing in an S&P 500 index fund and just letting the market do all the work, as opposed to paying a fund manager or mutual funds or whomever who take fees and often don't beat the market anyway. So that is what the rate of return is showing you. It's giving you a like a performance score that you can then compare to the market in general and gauge how you're doing. Now, of course, when you're now onto account balance or account value, you invest your original funds, your cost basis, and those stocks and investments hopefully go up, and now your account value is going up. So if you go into your 401k and you just keep seeing your account value go up in there, that's a good feeling. But if you're always adding money to your 401k, your account value is going up for that reason as well. So just looking at the account value is really not good enough. You need to say, hey, my account value is great, I see it's gone up, but I also put in X number of dollars each year for the last year. You need to know what your cost base is in, or money you put in from your savings and work, and what that has turned into in terms of growth. So just looking at the account balance is really not a great measure. of performance, though, you can do some mental math when you look at it, and if you don't really want to dig into the details, if you see your account balance going up, at least you know that, something decent is happening. So there, those are the differences between those two things. Now, another question here is, how can investors evaluate the returns and make adjustments? Well, I think, a good benchmark evaluation is seeing how it did compared to the S&P. Now, making adjustments to your investments will either happen by you if you're choosing the investments, or by your broker or investment advisor, or if you're in like a robo fund, your robo advisor or the AI will keep adjusting your asset allocation to hopefully improve for performance. But when it comes to robo accounts, I think they often just invest in a profile that spreads out investments over stocks and bonds based on your age and so on. I don't know if they correct for performance issues. So you as a human and your investment advisor as a human can look at your performance and say, hey, we're not besting the S&P 500. Maybe we should just go buy that. Or we have to work harder at the investments we're choosing to make sure we're doing better than the S&P. Because if you do the S&P, say, you don't have to do anything. There's no work happening. You invest in the index and the market just does what it does. So it's a very low cost, low effort way to do things. If you're making a lot of effort to try to beat it and you're not, well, you have to question that. So that's a way that you can consider performance. Now, what you invest in otherwise, if you're not doing as well as the S&P, let me know. I'd like to know too. Anyway, common mistakes people make when assessing your 401k performance. I think probably just focusing on account balance versus actual rate of return. The rate of return is really going to be the metric you need to weigh performance against other possible investments. So those are my thoughts on that. I hope you're saving a lot. Pack your 401k with as much savings as you can. If you have a match, make sure you are funding your 401k so you can get the maximum match possible, because that's just money that you're leaving on the table if you're not. I will talk to you in the next video. Thanks so much.